Hello, testing. Shabbat Shalom. Page 128. Boi kala, boi kala, boi kala, boi kala. Sing with me just those words. Boi kala, boi kala. Boi kala, boi kala. And the words at the bottom of the page. Hachamame roshaila not nistalka, bo v'netze likrat Shabbat hamalka. Hachamame roshaila not nistalka, bo v'netze likrat Shabbat hamalka. Boi kala, sing with me. Boi kala, boi kala, boi kala. Just keep singing that. Boi achamame roshaila not nistalka, bo v'netze likrat Shabbat hamalka. Hachamame roshaila not nistalka, bo v'netze likrat Shabbat hamalka. Boi kala, boi kala, boi kala, boi kala.
Shabbat Shalom.
Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos, good evening. Welcome to Congregation Dor Tamid and our Friday evening Kabbalat Shabbat worship service. It is wonderful to be here with all of you in our sanctuary as well as everyone joining us through our virtual online community. We come together on this Shabbat as we put aside the last 7 days since we left Shabbos last Saturday night. We come together with this opportunity to enter into this sacred and holy time that gives us an opportunity to examine who we are, to dig deep, to listen to the still small voice within, and to renew our souls. This Shabbat, I want to recognize that we are joined tonight by our 8th and 9th grade classes who just had their annual Shabbat dinner. We're glad you're here along with your teachers, Landy Gonzalez, Mike Zuspin. We also know that we are here tonight for a variety of reasons. Some of us are here because we seek the joy and the support of our community. Some of us are here because we are here saying prayers for loved ones for their healing of body, spirit, and soul. Some are here because we seek the comfort of our community, our friends, and our family as we walk through the valley of the shadow. Many of us here are remembering someone tonight. I want to recognize Stacy, who is finishing up the Shloshim for her mother this week, and we're glad you are here joining us tonight for Shabbos. We're here for a variety of reasons. And tonight we also not only remember those in our immediate circles, some of us who are remembering, but we remember those in the larger Jewish community as well. As this past week, we marked on the Hebrew calendar Yom HaShoah, Holocaust Remembrance Day. And so throughout our service this evening, we will have additional readings and songs helping us to remember, helping us to honor the memory of the victims of the Shoah, of the Holocaust, as we enter into this Shabbat. I'm going to ask that we take a moment first, though, to make sure we know with whom we are praying, because prayer is a very sacred and yet also very intimate act. It asks us to open ourselves up to the heart of the world. And so I'm going to ask you to find someone you don't know, someone you haven't seen in a while, wish them Shabbat Shalom. We turn now in our prayer books to page 128 as we begin to open our hearts to the heart of the world with Yidid Nefesh.
Yidid Nefesh Barachaman, Yidid Nefesh Barachaman, Meshochav El Ritzonecha, Meshochav Decha, Yalalai Lai Lai El Ritzonecha, Yarot Abdecha Kemo Hayal, Ishtachabe Yalalai Lai 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 El Muladarecha. Yidid Nefesh Barachaman, Yidid Nefesh Barachaman, Meshochav Decha El Ritzonecha, Meshochav Decha Yalalai Lai Lai El
As we do each week, we enter into Shabbat by bringing more light to creation. Tonight, however, we add a third candle, a candle of memory, which we will light first before lighting our Shabbos candles. And to kindle our lights, I'm going to invite our 8th grade teacher, Landy Gonzalez, to come to the bima as we turn to page 674 for Ashrei Hagafur.
Ashrei Hagafur Shenizra Ve'yitzit lehavot. Ashrei Ale'aveh Shehabara Besitrei levavot. Ashrei alevavot sheyadu lechado bechavod. Ashrei hagafur shanisrav ve'itzit lehavod.
Page 120.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת.
We turn now to page 130. As we enter into Kabbalat Shabbat, our service for the welcoming of the Sabbath, with Lechu Neranena.
Lechu Neranena l'Adonai, Nariya l'tzo yishenu, Nekadma b'na b'toda, Vizmirot Narialo. Page 131. Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz. Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash. Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz. Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash. Sing unto God all the earth a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along. All the earth a new song unto God. Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz. Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash. Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz. Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash.
We turn now to page 138 as we prepare to welcome the Sabbath bride with the singing of L'Chadodi. We will sing together verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And when we get to the 9th and final verse, we will rise and face the door of the sanctuary, hoping to catch a glimpse of the Sabbath bride as she enters our presence.
L'Chadodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. 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 Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Ishmi'anu el ha'miuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shem u'tiferet v'litila. L'chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. L'chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechuven elcha, ki hi mekor habebracha, merosh mikadem nisucha, sof ma'aseh b'machsheva tehila. L'chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. L'chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, kiva orek umi ori, uri shir dameri, kevod Adonai alayik nigla. L'chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. L'chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala, gam b'simcha u'v'tzola, tochem u'neam segula, moi kala. L'chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. L'chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
We turn now to page 144 as we prepare to transition into our evening service with the Shema and its blessings with the words of the Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba.
Amen.
Be'alma divarach irutei v'yamlich malchutei,
B'chayechon
u'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. Bagala uvizman kariv ve'imveru amen. יהי שמרה מבורך, לעולם עולם מעלמיה, יתברך, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמא, ואמרו אמן. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Barechu et Adonai Amorah. Baruch Adonai Amorah Le'olam Va'ed Le'olam Va'ed. Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai. Am I awake? Am I prepared?
Please be seated. The next prayer that we come to in the evening is our prayer, Ma'ariv Aravim, which thanks God for nature, for allowing the evening to come, allowing the changing of the seasons, of the time of day. And instead of the prayer that we find in the book, tonight we turn as a Havanah of this prayer to the words of Chana Senesh, who said, Eli, Eli, O Lord, my God, I pray that these things never end. The miracles of nature, the love and prayer of human beings. We sing together Halichala Kasaria, Eli, Eli, on your supplement sheets.
Eli, Eli, shelo yigamer leolam. Achol ve'ayam, rishru shel hamayim, merak hashamayim, tvilat adam. Achol ve'ayam, rishru shel hamayim, merak hashamayim, tvilat adam.
We turn now to the bottom of that page as we read together an affirmation of faith. Hear, O Israel, together. The covenant we made together on Sinai is a pledge for all time, a vow for the ages, to do and to listen, to teach and to learn, with the fullness of our hearts, from the depths of our souls, and the strength of our being, binding ourselves to Adonai our God, with Torah and mitzvot, binding our lives to each other with righteousness and charity, so that blessings will rain down from heaven to feed our hearts and fill our lands with God's abundant gifts, the brilliance and wonder that flow from God's service to God's holy word, in remembrance of creation and our liberation from slavery, declaring throughout the generations, God is one, God is one, God is one.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'avta et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha,
ובכל מאודיך, והיו
הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We read responsively on page 157. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
מי כמוך מעלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. מי כמוך מעלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש. Who is like you? Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? When Moses and the children crossed the sea, they sang to you with songs of joy. Who is like you, Adonai? Mi kamocha bailim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar bakodesh, norah tehilot oseh pele. Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. Page 161. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storm. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu, Ashkivenu L'Shalom, V'ha'amidenu Shomrenu L'Chayim, Ufros Aleinu Sukat Shlomecha, Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Ashkivenu L'shalom. Let there be love. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
Page 162.
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam Berit olam Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti leolam Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim v'et haaretz uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayidaf Shabbat vayinafash Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Shabbat lidorotam Berit olam Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti leolam Oti leolam Oti leolam.
We turn now to page 164 as we rise for the tefillah.
Yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai. 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 Ose shalom bimromah Uyase shalom aleinu Ve'al kol Yisrael Ve'imru amen Ose shalom bimromah Hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael Imru amen. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Our prayer books to page 362 for Seder Kriyat HaTorah LeShabbat, our service for the reading of Torah on Shabbat. Please rise.
Ein kamocha va'Elohim Adonai v'ein kema'asecha malachutecha malachut kol olamim u'memshaltecha b'chol dor v'hador Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed Adonai oz le'amo yitin Adonai varech et amo v'shalom Av harachamim heitiv v'retzoncha et Zion Ibnei chomot Yerushalayim Ibnei chomot Yerushalayim Ki v'cha levad batachnu Melech el ram v'nisadon olamim Ki mitzion tetzei Torah Ki mitzion tetzei Torah Udevar Adonai mirushalayim Baruch shenatan Torah Torah Baruch shenatan Torah Torah Le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Gadol Shemo Gadol Adonai iti u'neromim Shemo Yakdav Lecha Adonai Agedula V'agivura v'atiferet v'anetzach v'aod Ki kol bashamayim uvaretz Ki kol bashamayim uvaretz Lecha Adonai hamamlacha V'amit naseh lechol rosh Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, haolam omed, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, haolam omed. Al haTorah v'al avodah v'al gemilut chasadim Al haTorah v'al avodah v'al gemilut chasadim Lo yitzak goy el goy chereb Lo yumadu od milchama Lo yitzak goy el goy chereb Lo yumadu od milchama Lo yitzak goy el goy chereb V'lo yumadu od milchama, lo yisagoy el goy chereb, v'lo yumadu od milchama.
Seated? Our Torah reading for this evening is going to be a little bit out of order from our weekly cycle of readings, but more about that in a little bit. We're going to be reading from chapter 25 of the book of Deuteronomy. And to bless the Torah, I'm going to invite our 8th and 9th grade students to come to the bima. Surprise. As we turn to page 368 to bless the Torah. Ya'amdu hastudentim.
Guys, come here. Over here.
Ed. Just hold that. Baruch atah Adonai noten Amen. Zachor et asher asa lecha Amalek b'deret b'techem mimitzrayim asher karcha b'derech v'yaznev becha kol nechashalim acharecha v'ata ayef v'yagea lo yareh Elohim v'haya v'aniach Adonai Elohecha lecha mikoivecha misaviv ba'aretz asher Adonai Elohecha noten lecha nachala l'rishta timche et zecher Amalek mitachat hashamayim lo tishkach. Amen. Misha berach avotenu v'imotenu Avraham, Yitzchak v'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel v'Leah, hu yivarech et kol studentim, ha'ela ba'avur sha'alu lichvod ha'makom v'lichvod ha'torah v'lichvod ha'shabbat. B'schar zeh HaKadosh Baruch Hu yashmirehem v'yatzilehem mikol tzara v'tzukah u'mikol nega u'machala. Bishlach bracha v'hatzlacha b'chol ma'aseh yadehem imkol Yisrael v'nomar. Amen. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless all of you students of our religious school who have come up to the Torah in honor of God, in honor of Torah, and in honor of Shabbat. May you merit from the Holy One of blessing, protection, rescue from any trouble or distress, and from any illness, minor or serious. May God send blessings and successes in your every endeavor, together with all Israel, as we all say, Amen. With our hearts opened by words of Torah, we pause in our service to think of members of our community who are ill. Some are at home recovering, some are in the hospital. Some have diseases and illnesses from which they may never recover. This week we think especially of Adrian Young Cohen, Harriet Jacobs, Reed Zoll, Gail Kahn, Larry Katz, Kathleen Sable, Larry Berger, Jonathan Waller, Catalina Deltet, Julie Butler, Gary Swartz, Sheila Schneiderman, Claudia Tharp, Tom Bradford, Janelle Nichols, Laurel Phoenix, Robert Cohen, Brianna Jacobs, David Sankey, Stanley Bissell, Rena Fields, Richard Jacobs, Brooke Jacobs, Carolyn Eisenhart, Larry Futterman, Marty Barish, Gary Paul, Brian Berger, Chandler Jacobs, Yael Bat David Valea, Alan Friedman, Sarah Kahn, Lee Silverstein, Jill Van Team, Eleanor Goodman, Libby Routman, Marjorie Whitmore, Jerry Phillips, Paul Kirshon, Reva Fisher, Leslie Knight, Bert Singerman, Mateo Velasquez, Max Jacobs, Kathy Waldner, Richard Zuspin, and Christopher Denton. You are thinking of someone who is in need of a prayer of healing. I invite you to share their name with the community as my eyes meet yours, or if you are joining us online, to add their name at this time to the chat. We think of all of them and we ask for God's healing presence to be with all we have named and all we hold in our hearts. We also ask God to be with victims of violence around the world. May they be blessed with healing, hope, and love. And we ask God to watch over those who care for the sick each day. May their hands and their hearts be blessed with wisdom, strength, love, and support, as we ask for God's healing presence to be with all of them and all of us, as we sing together this blessing on page 371.
Misheberach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
This Shabbat brings to us a double parsha, the double parshiot of Tazria and Mitzara, which bring us the Torah readings and lessons and laws about leprosy. However, we didn't read those words tonight from Torah. Instead, the words I just read come to us not from Leviticus, but from the book of Deuteronomy, and tell us, remember what Amalek did to you on your journey. After you left Egypt, how undeterred by fear of God, he surprised you on the march, when you were famished and weary, and cut down all the stragglers in your rear. Therefore, when Adonai your God grants you safety from all your enemies around you, in the land that Adonai your God is giving to you as a hereditary portion, you shall blot out the memory of Amalek from under heaven. Do not forget. These words, which are read both during the yearly cycle of Torah readings and fall usually in mid to late August, and also are read on Shabbat Zachor, the Shabbat immediately preceding Purim, seemed to be, in my mind, the appropriate words to read tonight. And not only did we hear these words that speak of blotting out evil in the world, we read them tonight from a very special Sefer Torah. The Torah that was read tonight, this scroll, while no longer a kosher scroll, still is significant and holy because of its story. This scroll, which is marked as Czech Memorial Scroll number 49, is one of 1,564 sacred Torah scrolls which came to the Westminster Synagogue in February of 1964 that had been gathered together in Prague from the desolated synagogues of Bohemia and Moravia by the Nazi officials in charge of the Czech Protectorate. Much more synagogue booty, books, pictures, embroidered vestments, and ceremonial objects of silver and gold were similarly collected by the Nazis, and many of these articles now reside in the State Jewish Museum in Prague. The scrolls lay piled in the disused Michle synagogue for more than 20 years following the war, and it's believed they were originally gathered for permanent exhibition as relics of a defunct culture. These scrolls, which were taken care of by the Westminster Synagogue, are now on permanent loan from their original home communities and are used in synagogues, camps, and institutions around the world. And so as we here at Congregation Dor Tamid mark Yom HaShoah this week, as we mark Holocaust Remembrance Day, it is an honor for our community to zachor, to remember the community of Loschitz, from whom we are taking care of their sacred scroll. The scroll and the words we read tonight are that reminder to remember. For in memory and in bringing that memory to the forefront, we ensure that we will continue to work to blot out the memory of Amalek and all of his descendants, from Haman to Hitler, to blot out evil in existence. We are currently in a liminal period on our calendar. We have come out of Egypt just 3 weeks ago, and currently we are counting the days, counting the Omer to Shavuot, to the time where we celebrate receiving Torah. And it is during this period that our rabbis have chosen to remember our darkest time. But out of the darkness must come light. For this Shabbat tonight is not only a service of memory, but also one of hope. For we know that just after we remember the Holocaust, we have an opportunity on our calendar to celebrate. Next week we will celebrate that 75 years ago, out of the ashes of Europe, a group of Jews, some who had been present in the land since well before the First World War, others who had come in the intervening years, and many who had come in the wake of the Holocaust, stood up and proclaimed to the world that there was tikva, there was hope, and that Am Yisrael Chai, the people of Israel, lived. David Ben-Gurion declared then in a loud and clear voice, "Accordingly, we members of the People's Council, representatives of the Jewish community of Eretz Yisrael and of the Zionist movement, are here assembled on the day of the termination of the British mandate over Eretz Yisrael, and by virtue of our natural and historic right, and on the strength of the resolution of the United Nations General Assembly, hereby declare the establishment of a Jewish state in Eretz Yisrael to be known as the State of Israel." This State of Israel, which is filled with its own contradictions and conflicts, is celebrated right after we remember the Shoah, because the two need to go together. We cannot go to our depths without hope, and our celebration must be tempered so that we can remember our responsibility to be an Or LaGoyim, a light to the nations. As we read the words of Torah this evening that command us to remember our darkest moments, we also turn to words of hope, words for the future, and words that tell us that we need to continue our sacred and ancient work of sustaining the Jewish people, fighting the scourge of Amalek, and bringing more peace and justice to the world. We turn now to page 678. We rise.
Kol balev ha'penima, nefesh Yehudi omiya, ufate mizrach kadima, ayin leTzion Sophia. Od lo avda tikvatenu, hatikvat shnot alpayim, liotam chofshi be'artzenu Eretz Zion v'Yerushalayim, liotam chofshi be'artzenu Eretz Zion v'Yerushalayim.
We remain standing as we turn back in our prayer books to page 371 to dress the Torah.
V'zot HaTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei b'nei Yisrael al pi Adonai biyad Moshe. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. La 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 la. Ya la 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 la. La 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 la. Ya la 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 la. La 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 la.
Page 374. Yahalelu et Shem Adonai ki niskav shemo levado. Let us praise the name of Adonai, for God's name alone is exalted.
Odo al eretz v'shamayim vayarem keren li'amo tehila lechol chasidav libnei Yisrael am kirovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah. It's Chaim Hilama Chazikim Va V'tom Me'ushar Deracheh Darchinoam V'chol netivoteh shalom. Hashivenu Adonai Elecha v'nashuva Chadesh Chadesh Yamenu Chadesh Yamenu Kikedem.
As I mentioned, we are in the period of our Hebrew calendar where we count the days from Passover to Shavuot, from our redemption in Egypt to Revelation at Sinai. We count the number of days, adding one each day, and it's a mitzvah to do so. We turn to page 570 as we prepare to count the Omer. Yesterday was day 15. Hineni muchanum zuman l'kayem mitzvat aseh shel svirat ha'omer. I am ready to fulfill the mitzvah of counting the Omer. Together, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al svirat ha'omer. Our praise to you, Adonai, sovereign of all, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to count the Omer. Hayom shesh esrei yom shehem shvuayim ushtei yamim la'omer. Today is the 16th day, which is 2 weeks and 2 days of the Omer. We turn to page 586 for Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latet gedula liotzer breshit, shehu noteh shamayim v'yosed haaretz, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
We turn now to prayers of memory for Yom HaShoah on page 525. In the presence of eyes which witnessed the slaughter, which saw the oppression the heart could not bear, and as witnessed the heart that once taught compassion until the days came to pass that crushed human feeling, I have taken an oath to remember it all, to remember, not once to forget. Forget not one thing to the last generation, when degradation shall cease, to the last, to its ending, when the rod of instruction shall have come to conclusion. An oath, not in vain passed over the night of terror. An oath, no morning shall see me at flesh pots again. An oath, lest from this we learned nothing. We take a moment in silence with our own prayers, our own thoughts, or being inspired to memory with the words of testimony and survival over the next 4 pages in our prayer book. Creator of all, source and shelter, grant a perfect rest under your tabernacle of peace to those who perished in the Holocaust, our fathers and mothers, our sisters and brothers, our rabbis and teachers, our neighbors and children, the named and the unnamed, whose lives were cut off by brutal, vicious cunning and calculated violence. May they find peace in the world to come. Remember the survivors who have since passed away, and the virtues of our people who've died at the hand of malice in every generation. We remember the work of their hands and the messages of their hearts. Bless the defenders of Israel with safety and strength, and the righteous of all nations who provide protection, shelter, and comfort to the Jewish people. Let their deeds be a source of favor in heaven and healing on earth. Put an end to anger, hatred, and fear, and lead us to a time when no one will suffer at the hand of another. Speedily in our days, may the memories of all who face these horrors be sanctified with joy and love. May their souls be bound up in the bond of life, a living blessing of memory. We rise for El Malei Rachamim, page 530.
El Malei Rachamim En Bamromi Amsei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei Ashchina B'malot Kedoshim Utorim Gezohar Rakia Mazirim Et Nishmot 6 million Achenu Ve'achiotenu Shene'agu Al Kiddush Hashem V'achamim Yastirem B'seter knafav le'olamim V'tzroa chayim et nishmatam Adonai hu nachalatam Ve'anuchu b'shalom al mishkavam Ve'nomar Amen.
In addition to taking the millions of our people who have no one to say Kaddish for them in our hearts, we also turn at this sacred moment of our Shabbat evening worship to think longingly and lovingly of those taken from us both recently and at this season in years past. We are in a period of Shiva for my teacher, Rabbi Sim Glazer. We are in a period of Shloshim, first 30 days since their funeral, Jeffrey Friedman, Doris Cohen, and Elaine Cohen. We mark the Yartzites, the anniversary of their passing on this Shabbat, of Helen Acker, Samuel Goldberg, Billy Kalin, Sylvia Kirsch, Alexander Kurtz, Marvin Shefsky, Al Siegel, and Stanley Miles Wexler. If you are remembering someone on this Shabbat, I invite you to share their name with the community as my eyes meet yours. Zichronam livracha. May all of their memories continue to be a blessing. As we turn now to Words Hallowed by Time, page 598, the words of the Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach hirutei ve'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'vyomechon Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach leolam lamei maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudsha brichu. Le'elah min kol birchata v'shirata. Ushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. B'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, huya aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, b'imru, amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, and comfort to all the bereaved here and everywhere with the blessing of peace. Together we all say, amen.
Oseh shalom b'imromav, Uyaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen.
Our closing song this evening comes to us inspired by the words of Psalm 89, and it's a prayer that this world, rather than the horrors of the last century, will be opened up to words, thoughts, deeds, and hearts of love. We sing together on the back of your service handouts.
Yaradai, yaradai, dai, dai. Olam chesed ibaneh. Yaradai, yaradai, dai, dai. Olam chesed ibaneh. Yaradai, yaradai, dai, dai. And I will build this world from love. Yadadai, yadadai, dai, dai. And you must build this world from love. Yadadai, yadadai, dai, dai. And if we build this world from love, Yadadai, yadadai, dai, dai. Then God will build this world from love. Yadadai, yadadai, dai, dai. Olam chesed yibaneh. Yadadai, yadadai, dai, dai.
Please be seated. Shabbos, everyone.
Shabbos.
It's a pleasure, a joy to be here with all of you this evening, here in the sanctuary, as well as those of you joining us virtually. Just a few brief announcements before we conclude our service with a kiddush and a motzi. Tomorrow evening is our gala fundraiser, which the committee has been working on for a long time, and it's going to be a lot of fun tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. For those of you joining us tomorrow night, looking forward to seeing all of you. For those of you who are not joining us, we will miss you, but there is a phenomenal list of things for the auction. You can go to our website, take a look, and if you're interested in supporting the congregation, you can do so through our website tomorrow evening. Sunday morning at 8:30, Kol Sasson, our youth choir, will meet before religious school, which begins at 9 o'clock here in the building. On Monday, we will have Mahjong at 1 o'clock in classroom 5, and both our sisterhood and social action meetings will be Monday evening at 7:30. Tuesday, our prime timers are doing a wine tasting and lunch at noon, and there will be Mahjong lessons in classroom 5 at 7 p.m. On Wednesday, you are invited to join with me as we continue studying the book of Judges. We are in the middle of the Samson story, so if you haven't yet joined us for Tanakh study, this is a great time to start because it's like reading Game of Thrones. It's just a lot of just exciting stuff to read and discuss. So we hope to see you at 11 o'clock, and then following Tanakh study at noon, you can join together with the Sandwich Project in the kitchen to do a mitzvah and help feed the hungry. At 6 o'clock on Wednesday, our 9th and 10th grade, as well as our C. Diddy Senior Youth Group, will have a pizza dinner. And at 7 o'clock, our 9th and 10th graders do have religious school this week. On Thursday, Knitting and Crochet Group, yes, Leslie? We'll meet at 1 o'clock. Mahjong is at 7 p.m. Next Friday night, come back to services, because not only are we going to be offering a blessing for all of our seniors who are graduating, but it is Simon and Garfunkel Shabbat. So come next week for the first of two musically special Shabbatot in a row, because on May 5th, the week after that, is Bluegrass, Blue Jeans, and Burgers Shabbat, weather permitting, outside. So hope to see you all for the next two Shabbatot. They're going to be a lot of...
Can't do it because you're not from here.
No.
But it's Bluegrass and Blue Jeans Shabbat, okay?
There you go.
And burgers, right? That's it.
There you go.
Okay.
Next Sunday, April 30th, is our penultimate Sunday school. And then in May, we have our special Shabbat that Mike just mentioned. We also have confirmation, our annual meeting, and a lot more coming up with Shavuot at the end of the month. So keep an eye out on our Facebook page, our website, our newsletter, our e-blast for all the information about everything upcoming here at CDT. A special thank you this week to everyone, our gala committee, our volunteers who helped set up our new dance floor, our auction volunteers, our staff, everybody who has done so much work over the past weeks and months to get ready for our fundraiser tomorrow evening. It is the third Shabbos in April, which means it's anniversary Shabbat. If there's anybody celebrating an April anniversary, I invite you to please rise so we can recognize you and say Mazel Tov. Okay.
So April's a dud.
More candy. It's more candy for us.
What?
Latecomers. Brian, did you forget what day it is? So, introduce yourselves. What day and how many years are we celebrating? 19 years. Mazel Tov.
7 Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, 7 Tov, 7 Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, 7 Tov, 7 Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, 7 Tov, Yehelanu.
Following our service, you're all invited to join for an Oneg Shabbat in the social hall where we can continue celebrating Shabbat and getting to know people we haven't met yet and having a nosh. And I want to thank Stacy Ricks for sponsoring this week's Oneg in honor of your mom and in memory of your mom. So thank you for doing that and honoring her memory with us tonight. But before we can go have a nosh together, we do need to say Kiddush and Motzi. So I'm going to ask any young person who has not yet celebrated becoming bar or bat mitzvah, and I think I saw two of you.
Brian and Lavi.
Lavi, come on.
Lavi.
Whoa.
Lama.
All right. Well, one is going to come on up. All right. So, page 123, please rise. 123. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho v'yahal ratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maaseh b'reishit ki hu yom techila l'mikra'ei kodesh zecher l'tziyat Mitzrayim Kivanu v'acharta v'yodanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodeshecha b'yava u'b'ratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat.
L'chaim. We uncover the challah. We sing together.
Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
And as they are having the first piece of challah on behalf of all of us, we ask for God's blessing. Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo v'et kol v'nei adam b'shalom. May God grant strength to our people. And may God bless all of us, all of Israel, and all creation with the blessing of peace. Together we all say, Amen. Shabbat Shalom.